I would say that I'm sure I'm not the only person with learning difficulties who struggles with learning the Bible, reading the Bible, understanding why we need to read the Bible. You get told all these things you should do, praying the scriptures. Well, really? Now, when I first got saved, I used to talk to God every day, which presumably was praying. But then it seemed that you should be doing something a bit more than just talking to God. So then it becomes the complicated gospel of Christ as opposed to the simplicity of Christ. And when we think about it in Jesus' day, that not everyone had books and learning. They used the scribes and the Pharisees to teach them all they needed to know, and they taught them what they thought they wanted them to know. And I think for many years, over the years, in the earlier Christian days here, that people were so illiterate, and it was left to the people at the top of the churches to tell the people what they needed to hear. So they'd go to church and they wouldn't be able to read the word for themselves. They'd have to listen to someone else's interpretation. At least now, while you're listening to me and there's something you're not quite sure about, you can go and check it up, maybe. And if you can't, ask me, email me, send me a note. What on earth are you talking about, girl? So this is where I do my best. Now, last week was the first online house group, and I'm putting this online for anyone else who may be interested. It's not necessarily, it's the truth as I read it. I haven't tried to turn it around. I haven't tried to make it anything that it's not. It's the truth as I read it, as a dyslexic. I can read and write. I was a secretary. Orange glasses. I've got scotopic sensitive syndrome. Can't even say it. See what they do to us. They don't give us a simple name. This helps me see better. It means that I can read for longer than half an hour without wanting to go to sleep. And it helps my brain work a bit better. So having said that, we will now dive into James, the book of James. Last week, no, it's 2 weeks ago now, we had the first few verses. Do you know, there's so much in this book. There's so much in each verse that I never knew before. There's so much that I'm seeing now that is so incredible and so important that we understand what James is saying. And it's exciting. It's upside down, it's inside out, it's round the wrong way. Everything you've been taught in life, just chuck it out the window. Just forget it. If you want to be a Christian, if you want to go God's way, forget everything you've heard prior to this teaching. Even with Jesus, the Sermon on the Mount, love your enemies, be kind to those who misuse you. I mean, who says that, for goodness sake? And as we carry on in this world, we know it's getting worse. We know everyone is more for themselves and, you know, blow the rest of the world. I'm all right, Jack. Let's keep going. But everything about James, everything about this book tells you different. And it was said, again, I said it the other week, that if James got up in a church now on the platform and preached this as he's written the letter, it wasn't a preaching, it was a letter to the 12 tribes of Israel who had been scattered everywhere because of persecution, we would probably throw him off the platform, telling him he's talking ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, not possible, too difficult. This is not the way we want it. Well, it's not about what we want. It's about what God wants. And if God wants you to do it, God will help you do it. He never asks you to do anything He won't back up. The only reason you don't get a backup is because you haven't asked God to help you. And it's that simple, because I'm simple. And that's what I've learned.